Alright, it's me, back again. Who is Warner Child? What are his tastes? What's his angle? What's his deal? Why does he keep smiling at me? So no new album came out for me yesterday. Didn't really watch much David Lynch, R.I.P. So I was thinking I could do this. It's still January, so it still counts. Here's my top 10 albums of 2024. The concept being that if you are someone who also liked one of these albums, you're more likely to give me a follow and see what I listen to in 2025. First, some honourable mentions. This album, Everyone Wants Something Beautiful by Love Letter. This is the new album, new project from singer from hardcore band Verse. So yeah, it's hardcore punk, but with a little seasoning of Me Without You on there. I really like it. Hope to see it live. Fave track, Meds and Taxes. Yeah, that's right, this puppy's in here. Not loose as you won't go before you're supposed to. All those heavy words that people have said, like crushing, brutal. Doing a list this late, yeah, it's like, ooh, what am I going to say that you haven't heard 1,000 times? Seeing this moment in the rain on Kimmel was chef's kiss. Poor. There's no need for a volume button on your stereo anymore. This thing's turned up to 11. Favourite track? Suffocate. Bet you're surprised to see this one on the list. Charli XCX's Brat and the remix album. Even though the pandemic soundtrack of How I'm Feeling Now was my Brat moment with Charli, having listened to her for almost a decade now, it was so great to see the world finally catch up to the fun and greatness that is Charli XCX. Love, 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 XXX. Favourite track? I think about it all the time with Bon Iver on the remix. Just want to give you a shout out to this new Pale Waves album, Smitten. Pale Waves meant a lot to me in 2018, so I was happy to enjoy this return to the shoegazy dream pop side. Favourite track? Perfume. This new album from Bilmuri, American Motorsports. The Crab Lord himself has gone and done it again. The catchiest sing-alongs had me going all summer. I was like the saxophone guy in Lost Boys. It was so good, made me think I like country music. I don't. Favourite track? Empty-Handed. My favourite track? Empty-Handed. My favourite track? Oh, that Empty-Handed, that's a good track. My favourite track? Empty-Handed, that's a good one. My favourite track? That's gotta be Empty-Handed, that's a mighty good song. My favourite track? It's gotta be that Empty-Handed, that's a mighty fine good song. Speaking of sing-alongs, this new album from The Story So Far, I Want to Disappear. You can't get more summer palm tree punk than this. If you know, you know. Loved it, honestly. I'll be the first in the queue for the next Warped Tour. Favourite track, Watch You Go. Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia. It's my first Tyler album. I've loved his interviews and his general shenanigans over the years, and I've glanced at his songs since the Odd Future days, but I just couldn't find my way in until he made this soulful album about his parents and his place in the world. I hope he stays aboard that soul train of his. Favourite track, Darling I. And last but definitely not least, this Doechii mixtape album, Alligator Bites Never Heal. I checked it out when it dropped, but I was so distracted by other albums in my collection that it wasn't until she did the Tiny Desk concert that I returned back to it and realised just how great it is. Curious what she does next. Favourite track, Beverly Hills. Okay, guys, it's time for the top 10. They're so excited. At number 10 is the new Magdalena Bay album, Imaginal Disc. Now, I've actually been a fan of Matt and Mika since 2017 when I stumbled upon their song Neon on a playlist. Then in 2020 they dropped Airplane and I became a massive fan. Fast forward to this album with its live drums. Sounds big to someone like me that's been listening to them since they started. I'm just so happy for them that a band this inventive and up for pushing the boundaries is finally getting the love and support that they need in order to keep doing stuff like this. If you think this is good, I bet the next one will be better now that you've all said, yes please. Favourite track, Image. At number 9, I've got Quarter Conscious with their album Palette. This will probably be the second album on this video where you're like, ooh, what's this? I too had no idea, completely stumbled it on a playlist. Never heard of them, but I've recently been on a punk and emo kick, as you'll see in this list. And this ticked both boxes. The singing and the drumming are fantastic. It's probably the most upbeat thing on this whole video. I highly recommend it if you wish that early Blink-182 had a baby with American football. Favourite track, Daisy Chain. At number 8, speaking of wishes, we've got the new Wishy album, 777. This shoegazy alt-rock album that sounds like it time-travelled from the millennium is ace. If you're in your 40s and you miss this era of music, get your forks at the ready because Wishy are dishing it, serving it right up. Lick that plate clean. Favourite track, Little While. At number 7, I've got Red Setter by Memorial. A beautiful, gentle, lovely acoustic album that I encourage everyone to check out. If you like Owen, Bon Iver, even Jose Gonzalez, literally any acoustic album, check this out. I love it loads. That's why it's on the list. I'd never heard of them before, but all eyes on them now. And it dropped the same day as Knocked Loose, so my heart monitor was... Favourite track? Corduroy. Cassandra. It pains me to put this in 6th place, but you know, that's how the game goes. It's got one of my favourite songs of the year on it. It floors me with its emotion and imagery. I first heard Cassandra with her song Hard Drive a few years ago. And her talking on songs, such a 90s touch. If you miss the ladies of the 90s like Alanis Morissette or Lisa Loeb, etc., Cassandra's your girl. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Favourite track, Mk.gee. Okay, roll up, we're at the point you've all been waiting for. These albums have shuffled around a bit, the last few months and stuff, but at the end of the day, these have always been my top 5. Number 5. This new album by State Fault is called Children of the Moon. It's there, you can see it in the picture, can you? If you like Screamo with a dark post-rock angle, boy, have I got the album for you. I've been listening to State Fault since 2013, and if you like the Japanese band Envy, you'll love this. Warning, there is screaming on this album. A lot of screaming. But my God, the guitars and the drums are just chef's kiss. Don't actually have that much else to say about it. It has to be listened to witness and experience. It's just, My favourite track, Transfiguration. Whoop whoop. New artist alert. In 4th place, I've got this Ayleen Valentine album, Little Rainbows After Death. I see a lot of promise in Ayleen, but I don't want to apply any pressure to such a young artist trying to find their sound. But making this at 22, I was impressed. I'm honestly surprised more people haven't checked this out. It's sort of a... how to describe this? It's sort of a bedroom pop, emo. If you like emo... I think Radiohead's a kind of fair comparison with how it's kind of sad and has electronic elements and rock elements. It's a fair comparison. Genre-wise. There is a shyness to it all, but I can't wait to hear what she does when she gets some confidence. Favourite track? Burn a Hole in the Yellow. In at 3rd place, we've got More Girl, Pure Love. It's interesting, isn't it? Some albums you want to talk about, you've got things to say, and others like this, you just want to find different ways of saying pure love. Because I pure loved this album. It benefited from coming out at the start of the year, so it was my most listened to album with the next album on this list. So time is a factor with these choices, sure. They get to attach themselves to more memories and become the soundtrack to my year. But essentially, I'd never heard of them before, found them on a playlist. You get the gist, we're in the playlist era. They sound like an American band with Midwest emo guitars and a perfect English female pop vocal. But they're from Norway. Vikings and that. Robert Eggers. I know American football are having a lot of babies in this video, but if you wish G-Flip had American football's baby, then that's more girl. I really hope they keep this sound and don't veer too much away from it, but either way, I'm looking forward to what they do next. Favourite track? Super Lazy Girl. Especially the video version. Coming in hot at number 2, Mk.gee. 2-star in the Dream Police. Mk.gee, you son of a gun. You son of a bitch. You've gone and done it. You 1975 having Bon Iver stinging the police having New Jersey mother. I felt like I was one of the first to review this when it dropped. I could not for the life of you predict that it would have been on SNL by the end of the year. But when you've got that kind of clash of old and new sounds like Mk.gee has, it's understandable that this thing would get a lot of love from all corners of the music-loving sphere. And again, like More Girl there, this came out at the start of the year and I spent a lot of time with it. I really hope he goes full speed, gets a drummer and makes a big old album to celebrate the success he got this year. Especially after such a lo-fi sounding release like this. Favourite track? Candy. It could be any of them. So, who beat my most listened to albums of the year? Who beat the unique Mk.gee album? Which album did I have the best memory with? I'll tell you. This is my album of last year. Melt Banana's 3+5. This album. If you know, you know. I could do my usual format of, if you haven't heard of them, they're a Japanese duo and they are their own genre, etc., etc. But instead, I'm going to tell you a story. In a world of increasing AI and perfection, I sense that there's a desire to be exposed to more humans on the internet. So here's me and my little human story. As it's one of the main reasons I started this channel. So, flashback. I used to tour with bands 20 years ago, and I was on tour in America once. I'm a bit hazy on the dates, but basically, Melt Banana dropped Cellscape in 2003, and about a year later, I was with a band called Folly. We were in their van. I believe we were washing it. And I was listening to this album. Absolute madness, this thing. Anywho, I digress. Get back in the DeLorean. Let's go back to 2024. So here I am in 2024, off the grid and out of the scene. A band I liked but never got to see from those days decided to reunite for one final tour. That band was Misery Signals, who just so happened to drop their debut album in 2004 as well. You see the fate here, guys? They are one of my closest friends' favourite bands. So I took the post-pandemic opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge and go and spend a few days reminiscing about the good old days. So there I am. It's Friday morning, album release day. After seeing Misery Signals the night before in Amsterdam, having seen friends I haven't seen in 20 years the night before, me and my close friend, we download this Melt Banana album and we think, let's have a live reaction whilst we're flying to London. It's peak summer, but the weather was grey and stormy. It's quite the vibe. We got seated, we looked at each other one final time. We locked in, as the kids would say. We pressed play and boom, there we are, listening to this utter madness. So this album soundtracks the first half of that flight. Released on the same day as Magdalena Bay, who went afterwards as the second half of the flight as we went into the clouds and the blue sky. So there I was, digested by this big metal bird floating in the air in this moment of a 25-year reunion where I'd face to face with my older self. And slowly but surely, I felt the desire to make this channel. Social media's gone to hell, why not? I'm celebrating the combination of a lot of things this year. In my head, it's a bit chaotic, like Melt Banana. With all the different things I want to talk about as the channel grows, and it's a fun little project. I'm the director, editor, writer, actor, producer, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, back to the album. Oh, enough about that. So that trip was the highlight of my year, and this album was the soundtrack for it. Ignoring the memory though, this album is utterly unique to the rest of the music released in 2024. It just stands out from the rest. Not even Mk.gee could compete with it, no matter how many times he tried. It's brilliant, it's catchy, it's hectic, it's crazy, it's just bonkers. And so is this review. So is this channel. So yeah, that's you all caught up. That's the invisible private me from last year, introducing the public me of 2025. One thing I'm curious and fascinated about by doing this is, I can't control it. I don't know unless people comment, I don't know who's watching this. Whether it's friends from my past, friends from my future to be, the people that made the things I'm talking about. So either way, welcome, thanks, thank you. Yeah, I think that'll do. We'll just go press the off button.